Today we are going to discuss about two important topics. One is stateless widget and another thing is stateful widget. So here stateless widget means a widget does not require mutable state. Before understanding this, you need to understand the state. The state means, for example, if you see the UI here, when I click on the click me text, see it is increasing the value. See, if any changes we are making and if that changes are reflecting into our UI, then that is called state. If you see here, we are using a column and we are using two widgets, demo stateless and demo stateful. So in this demo stateful, if you see, this is the stateful widget, means here I have given column and a text current value and a button in which when we click on that button, it is incrementing the value which we pass here. It means when we pass a value here, it is storing that value in the current value and it is using that value to update the UI. So this is what we call as state. Okay, here see, if we comment this one and if I run this program, see in demo stateful we are passing the initial value as 5, and if we go to that widget, see in this demo stateful, it is a stateful widget, which means it contains a state where in this state it is having the value, it is having a variable current value and it is storing the value which we are sending to the initial value. It is keeping up, and in the build UI, if you see, it is printing the text, and below the text we are having a button which is called click me, and when we click that one, see initial value passed it as 5, and when we click that one, see I have written a logic inside the set state. Set state means it is a function in which the logic we write, those logics will be executed and the outputs will be implemented in the UI. See what I have written, plus plus current value. It means it has to increase value by 1 of the current value. Initially that current value is which we pass to the initial value. Here I am passing initial value as 5. That's why the current value is 5, and I am printing the current value text and a button with click me. When we click on that button, it increases the value by 1. See, when I click on the click me, it is increasing the value by 7. Initially it is first. When I click that button, it incremented by 1, became 6. When I clicked again, it became 7. And when I clicked again, it became 8. Likewise, if you click n number of times, it will increase that value by 1. So this is what we call as state. Means the value which we are sending, it is stored inside one value and it is used to update the UI. That is what we called it state. In stateless widget, we don't require that state. See, here we have both stateless and stateful. In the stateless widget, I am passing the text and this text is not updated. If I run this one, see, text hello world with the color green and font size 16. Whatever the value I am passing, it is just only printed and it is not used for further update. So what this widget do is, whatever the values to be passed to this state, I mean class, it just uses that value to print it. There is no state to store that information and to update the user interface, which we called as stateless widget. And second type is stateful widget. Stateful widget means a widget that has a mutable state. State means state is a information that can be read synchronously when the widget is built and might change during the lifetime of the widget. So here what we have done, we passed the initial information to this widget and this information is stored in the state, and when we click the button, it is updating the value. Means is called, you guys understood about stateless and stateful widget? Do you want me to repeat it again? If you want me to repeat it again, raise your hand. If not, we will see the demo. So the difference between stateless and stateful widget is, when we pass any value to that class and it is not storing that value and it is just printing that value, then it is called stateless widget. But if you are passing any value and if you are storing that value, and if you are storing any value and updating the UI when any action is done, then it is called stateful widget. Here it is storing the value, initial value inside the current value, and it has a button. When we click on that button, it is using that data to update it in the UI. So that is why this 11 and click me, this widget is called demo stateful widget, and this hello world is called stateless widget. See, this demo stateless, it is simply a container with it, whatever text we pass, it will print, and whatever style it is given, it will print in that style. But demo stateful widget, it is not like that. It is first getting the value and it's storing in the current value, and using that value when we update the UI, when we perform any events, means any actions inside the device, and it is updating the UI using that value. So this is called stateful widget, and this hello world is called stateless widget. If you see, if I change the value flutter class, we send it to value as 10, and if we run it again, see, now it is flutter class and the base value is 10, and this one it is using that initial value, and when we click on the click me, it is updating because I wrote current value to increment by 1. So anything if you want to reflect in the UI, you have to write that logic inside the set state function. So when we write inside the set state function, okay, the logic which will be implemented, it is executed and the output will be reflected in the UI. This is called stateful widget. In stateful widget, we have a function called init state. See, we learned about the inheritance and abstraction, right? See here, if I declare a stateful widget, See, by default, it is printing the build method. Okay, so which inside the state, it extends the stateful widget, which contains a build, create state and build method. So that's why it is, when we extend that state, it is giving the build method, and we have a init state inside the stateful widget, so that whatever we want to initialize, we can initialize here. That's why if you see the code here, what I have done, I have passed the initial value. This stateful widget have a function called create state. Whatever the state we pass to that stateful widget, it will print that state. Okay, it has to be type of demo stateful. This syntax you will learn by practice. You don't get confused. What we have to do here is, you have to remember what is stateful widget. Stateful widget means it has two functions, which has init state and build. In init state, whatever the values you declare to store the information, that can be initialized, and the UI which you want to print in the device, you will write the logic here. This is stateful widget. In stateless, we don't have a state, right? That's why you don't have any init state method. It directly have the build method, and you can write the logic directly here in the build method. Got it? You guys got it? The difference between stateless and stateful widget? Okay. So now uh, we'll do a small assignment here, so which we will do in live. I want you guys to do is, first I want you guys to write a widget that takes the following inputs. First, your name, your department, mm, your ID number, and I want you guys to display that information in vertical order in the center of the screen. Can you guys do it for me? I want you guys to create a widget that will display name, department, and ID number like this in the center of the screen, and those values should be passed as a parameter to the widget. Can anyone do? Can any volunteer here? Can you do along with me? You can raise your hand. I can share you guys in the companion mode so that everyone can see what we both are doing. Anyone? Earlier you printed in the console. Now I want you guys to print in the center of the screen. You know how to create a class. You know how to create an object. You know how to write column in a build method, then you can easily write it in your code editor. Can you guys do it for me? So which type of widget will you use for this one? Can anyone tell me or type it in the chat? Which type of widget you will use? No one? If you guys don't know the answer, uh, at least raise your hand, those who don't know. If you know at least, then raise your hand. If you know and you don't want to tell, no problem. I want you guys to know. Okay? If you know, okay. Here we are using stateless widget because here we are passing name, department, ID number, and we are just displaying the information, right? So that's why we use stateless widget. So this is the shortcut, guys, in code editor. If you type STL, it will use STLless, stateless. If you click that one, it will give you the boiler code. So student info. I said I want you guys to print the name, department, and ID number, right? So we must have the variables to print the name, department number, department, and ID number. All three are mandatory, so we are passing this inside the required parameter. And we want to print entire thing in the center, right? Now center, and that all three in the vertical order, so we choose column. And if you want to print all the column things inside in center line, we have to give it like this, which you will learn in the upcoming classes by practice. And we want to print name, department, and ID number. And here what I am doing is I'll be passing the student info as a scaffold body, and I will name, I will be giving, and department here C, and ID number 123. See, if I run the tag, see, Nikhil CSC 123. You guys got it? Anyone did? Guys, no one? Okay. Another thing, we'll see another thing for stateful widget. As you know, stateful widget are useful when you do any actions, and if that reflects in the UI, then it is a stateful widget. Here I will do a small modification so that what we will do is we will introduce a button in UI so that when we click it, it will change the department to IT. Whatever department you pass it, it will change the department to IT. See, I will do a small modification here. And I will name it the button as a change department. And I will convert this to a stateful widget. You see, stateful widget. And to change the department, you must have a local variable to store that name. I said right. In each state, you have to assign that to your local variable. And I will set department name to IT. Now you will see what will happen. If I run this, see it is saying Nikhil CSC 123. If I click the change department, now you see the output how it will changes. See, here we made a mistake. We referred widget.department, so that's why it is printing CSC. Now, if you change it to department name, what happens is first for department name, CSA will assign. So whatever the variable you assign to change, that need to be passed as an object. Otherwise, the change won't happen. See, earlier I kept it as widget or department. If I click how many times, it won't change because this department name will change to IT, but department name is not used to display anywhere, so it won't reflect. So wherever you want to change any UI, you have to keep the UI first, and whatever the variable you assign to the to change the value, here we assigned it to department name, so we use that variable so that see what happens. If I click the change department, CSE changes to IT. This is how when you click any button or you see any notifications in your mobile, the UI changes, right? This is how it will change. You guys got it? How when we click anything in the mobile, you know how it changes the UI? This is how it will change the UI. You got it? You understood? Where to use stateless widget, where to use stateful widget? Yeah, nice. Okay. Yes, if anyone didn't understood, just raise your hand. I will explain it once more. Yeah, hello. Okay. So, okay, we completed the stateless and stateful widget. Now we will move to another thing called. How many of you understood about set state? Set state is also very important here. The syntax of the set state is, if you see, we will say void callback function. It is nothing but a function. You know, if you are writing a function, for example, void my own function. So this is the declaration. Okay, this is the definition of the function. But when you want to pass it as a parameter, so what you have to do is, this is the signature of the function. Okay, if you see set state, this is, see, void function. A type def is nothing called, when any syntax is too much long, we declare type def. Here, if I declare it as type def, now if I want to pass a function as a parameter, we pass this type, void callback function, callback function. So here, callback function. See, here, if you put like this, see, this is the format. What I am saying here is, for example, if your function is a type void, and it is a function which don't have any parameters, you know, this is the definition of the function. So instead of writing this entire whole thing, you use type defs to declare that function as a variables. For example, declare if I want to declare a function that takes no parameters but return the string type, if I give it like this, then I can write a function return 1 2 3. See, it won't throw error. It means the we have to understand how the function should be. For example, if I want to pass a parameter as a function, if I give it like this, I must have to pass a value to the string. Here I can use the value. See, student info callback function I've used here. Or if I click this thing, instead of set state, if I executed this widget dot callback function, and the value is 4567. Got it? If you see what I have passed, widget dot callback function. Another thing is in stateful widget, this is stateful widget and this is state. If you want to access the values declared in the stateful widget to inside the state, you have to call it with widget dot. Okay. So this is the callback functions, and these things you will get know about these things very much, and you will get hands-on this in future classes. This one is very important because, for example, I am passing the student info and I want something to be executed when we click on change department. You have to pass that whole logic here, so that when you click on that particular button, then only this thing is executed. See what here I called widget.callback function 4567, and what is saying print value. So whatever the value you pass to that callback function, because the callback function type is void callback string function. If you see the declaration, see it takes the string value and it returns the string value. That's why I am passing string value. So this 4567 is for this string, and this return 123 is for this string, because this callback function is a function which takes string as a param and returns a string. So for value we are passing 4567 and we are returning 123. If I put it as void, see it will throw error because now it doesn't return anything, but here we are returning something. So if I remove this, see, so this is what we called as function as a parameter. Okay, entire function we are passing as a parameter here. You have seen string, int, those things as a variables and parameters. Here we pass functions as a parameter. Okay, see, when we run this thing, so this is the log. The print statements, everything prints in the log, and the things which we write inside the build will refer in the UI. See, now it went to Nikhil CS 123. If I click the change department, what happens is it calls this widget.callback function with the param 4567. Now widget.callback function, what it is passed, see here we are getting a value and we are printing it. Now what happens is, for value it is a positioned parameter. See, it's a positioned parameter of type this thing. So for the string, what happen if you, for the string it will pass 4567. Here the callback function, what we are passing here, we are passing value in the place of 4567. So this value get assigned the value of 4567, and this print will print the 4567. If I click this one, see 4567, it's printed. When I click again, it will print again. These are logs, system logs, you ignore it. See, so this is the beauty of flutter, because when we click on anything, then only that logic will happen. Whatever the logic you write inside, that will happen only when you click on this button, because we are calling it when we click on pressed event. So this is elevated button, this is one widget. What happens is, when you click call this elevated button, it will draw button in the UI like this, and whatever we pass the text, it will become the title of the text. If I click it as submit, change it as submit, see, submit. This is how the buttons are developed in Flutter. And I click on submit, see, 4567 happened. Any doubt about type def? You guys understood type def? So the strings integers we declare directly. Int x equal to 10, string name equal to Nikhil. These things we can declare directly, but every time we cannot declare like this, right? New function equals to we cannot see here nothing but instead of string we return the return type and these things. Okay, this is what it means. So whatever it is, so what here is, here we are directly assigning Nikhil to the string. Here we are assigning 10 to the int. Likewise, we are writing a function, it means which it will take string as a value and it will if it returns value, see it is throwing error because this is of the type void, a function which takes string as a value and returns nothing. But here if I change this type as to string, see the error will be gone. So every time you cannot write this lengthy thing as a signature, right? That's why call we declare types defs. So if I type def, we can give any name, Nikhil own function. So if you see, so every time when you want to pass the function as a parameter, you don't have to write everything in this lengthy. You can simply pass this thing of the type, just we pass strings ints, right? Likewise you can pass nick own function. See here, if I pass this nick own function, the callback function, how it should be, it should take, if you see, it should take a string and it should return a string. Now you will get an error here. See this callback function, it is throwing red symbol. What it is showing, you can see the body might complete normally, causing null to be written, but the return type string is a potential type. So it is telling that the return type, it is given as a string, but you are returning nothing. So what I will do, see the error is gone. So this is what we call as type defs. And type mostly we use this for functions. This for int string also you can use, no problem. If you feel that int string is looking odd, say nickel int, I put, see nothing will happen. So this is what type defs are. Instead of this own existing type, you can create your own signature. See, instead of if I put nickel string, nothing will happen. See, got it? This is what type def. So what we discussed here is, today we discussed about stateless widget, Second one is stateful widget. Third one is state set state inside the stateful widget. Fourth one is type defs. You guys understood these four? You guys understood the type def? Guys, any doubt in these four things? Stateless, stateful, set state, type def? Any doubts? Okay. Okay, guys. Can we do a little bit of assignment here for type defs and set state? You guys ready? Just give a thumbs up if you are interested in doing an assignment for set state and type def. Yeah, Narsim Prasad. Yeah. This one you guys have to do on your own. I will give you 5 minutes of time. What is this? The function is, the main assignment is, there should be two variables. You have to pass two variables. Okay. And that two variables need to be added when we click on add button. What you have to do is, you have to create a widget. First, create a widget with two two integer variables, and you have to create a add button when we click on the add button. It should add the values and print it on the UI. Likewise, in Nikhil CSC 123, right? Likewise, you have to show the two variables. You have to pass two variables, and instead of submit, you should have an add button. And when we click on add, that output will be printed in the place of 123. Okay, this is the task. Can you guys do it for me? Can you guys, anyone, unmute your mic and tell me what to do? We can make a changes here also. Can anyone unmute your mic? Any volunteer? Okay, now it's 9:20. I will give time for 5 minutes. So if anyone finish it, just share your screen and show the code. Otherwise, after 5 minutes, I will complete that assignment. Guys, if you think that anyway I will be clearing that assignment, and if you are not practicing it, then it's your bad luck. If you don't practice the coding, it won't remain in your head and you won't remember the logic. Okay, if I'm giving some time and if I'm asking someone to participate, means always try to participate. And if you're not willing to talk, At least finish it from your end. Okay. By practice only, you will remember the code, syntax, everything. Okay. So guys, this is the task. Create a widget with two integer variables. Create a add button. When we click on the add button, it should add the values and print it in the UI. Anyone finished the assignment? Create a widget with two integer variables. So what we have to do is, which type of widget we have to use? Stateless or stateful? Any guess? Since we have some update in the UI, we have to use stateful widget. Now what we have to do is have to pass to variable, and you have to create a constructor for. Now we have to take column, have to print it in the center. So center child column. This main axis alignment is center. Cross axis alignment is center. And this children. I think that we have to print variable one. Here you will get error like this because for text you have to pass string type, but here we are receiving int type.